Hi everybody, Jo here. Thanks for joining me again. Now, as it's Technique Tuesday, we're going to look at a different technique. And I've had a few of you messaging me. When we did the video the other week with the stamping foam and the stencils, we had such a lovely response, and thank you for that. But you've been asking me about stamps. So you know what that means. It means I can have a good play. And yes, the stamping foam is fabulous with stamps. Now, a few of you have been asking about whether you could use it for a reflection. And I think for me, I would use the gel press or the acetate for a reflection. And I have done a video on that. This gives more the opposite. As in, yes, in theory, you get a reflection. But if I show you here as an example, when you stamp your stamp, you get the black line art. When we're using the stamping foam, we get the white area and the ink is on the surrounding. So it's almost the opposite. But this for me gives up so many. I mean, I'm thinking, imagine that stamped back on top with the black. I think that would look fabulous. There are so many things you can do. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a snippet. I think that's a lovely word, don't you? Another one for our dictionary. And we'll just have a little look at how to do it. And you know what? I want to wet your crafty juices. So many of you said Mr Mojo's gone away and he hasn't come back. So let's get him back. And let's just have a go, because once you start that, you're just going to want to play more and more. So many stamps are good for this. But I just got out my Indian Flourish, and that was the one I decided to have a play with. And I'll show you what we're going to do. So stamping foam, remember, yes, a few of you have asked, and yes, stamping foam, been around for years. But Simon Hurley sort of redeveloped it. It's a much denser foam, and we're lucky here at Lavinia that we now stock it, so it gives us another product to play with. Fabulous. Heat it up and then take an impression, and certainly from what I've been using, the impression stays for as long as you want it to. You get 4 pieces in your pack, and I must admit, I thought while I'm buying 1 pack I'll buy 2, and it means that I can then leave the impression in if I want, but obviously you don't have to. So if you remember, a heat tool, you can use an embossing tool, heat tool. I like this Heat It Craft It tool, and we're just going to heat it up. Now I've got my stamp on my block ready, just because for me that's easier. Do make sure that you're moving your heat tool as you're heating it, and also make sure you've got your mat underneath it. Don't be doing this on your best dining table. And I know you're going to say to me, well, none of us would do that, but let's be honest, how many times have you done that? One lady had a go at was telling me she'd been pricking through, and it went through to a dining room table. You see, we all do things like that. Now I'm just going to pick this up, so I've got it in my hand ready. Right, and I reckon that'll be a good heat straight down. And give it a good press. I've got all that Christmas dinner, Christmas pudding, miss, so I'll tell you what, I can give this a good press. Lift it up, and look, we've got the impression. Now, if you press very hard, like I did there, for me, that's almost too good a press, because we've got this area here. Now, it might be you want to see what that stamp's like, so I'll show you, and then I'll show you the better way. So, if we just ink this up. So when you were stamping, if you give it a bit of welly, like I did there, now for me, that's a bit too much welly, and we've got the edge of the stamp. But it might be that that's the effect you want. Now, I'm taking my Elements inks, DTP, direct to paper, but in this instant, we're going direct to stamping foam. Now, these are very lovely and juicy. You can, if you want, huff to add a bit more water, or you can spritz. Now, again, everybody's different. And that's one thing I love about doing these videos, is just to give you little ideas. Now that's how it comes without wetting it. But there's enough, and if I show you that, now it might be you like this edge. You might want that as part of your design. I prefer it without, so I'll show you, we'll see if we can get it without. But if I turn this over, look, if we get our bottle, and we'll just give Eric a bit of a, you want a light spritz. Wouldn't be the same without Eric having his bit of a spritz, would it? So again, spritz it with water and you get a much more watery, but it might be you want a water sort of colour type background. Now we'll just pop that to one side. Now we'll give this a quick wash. So again, it's just your water spritzer, your inky binky, the ink, as long as the ink doesn't stain. I mean, you know what, if it does stain it, you can still use it, but you know me, I like things clean. And you can use all four sides, so let's use the other side just to show you. So again, heat it up. And again, I just sort of go up and down across. But it's like everything, you'll get your own little method. Now this time, I'm not going to press as hard. I'm not going to give it that welly, just a gentle. And when we lift it up, so I've got more of an impression and less. If I show you the two, so it really depends what sort of effect you're looking for. Now it might be you like to heat it up and take your stamp. You might find it easier that way to control. Again, have a play. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about having a play. Now I'm going to create a background with this. So I'm just going to use 2 Elements ink pads, and I've got Della Blue and Bermuda. I'm just going to come in with the Della Blue first, and again, just a nice, gently, just press it. And I want to go for sort of a checkerboard type background. And what you'll find is when you start, so I'm using this now as a stamp and I'm going to alternate. But what you'll find is, for me, when you start doing this, look at this. I literally got all pieces. Again, it's like the gel press. When you start, get yourself plenty of card, because just making backgrounds, or these are great for me for toppers. And as I say, I'm going to have a go. I think this one stamping on top with the black would look lovely. Let's put that up there. So I'm going to now I just want to alternate between these 2 colours, and I'm just gently, and I just want to build up a sort of mosaic type background. And like I say, you can spritz with water. I just fancy this one with just the ink, and I just want the combination of these 2 colours together. And as I say, when you think of all the different ink pads we've got that we could do this with, so you could alter the colours, alter your stamp. But it's nice just to do something a bit different. And you know, if Mr Mojo has gone on holiday, do something a bit fun. Right, there we go. Let me just pop the lid on there. So just to create a nice background. And then what we'll do is we'll come in with the green. Just dab that off on there, and we'll just blend some ink all the way around. Because again, often on these videos, I know you often ask me, you know, you don't want to just be shown a background. You want to show how you could then use it. Now, this could be a background for a card. It could be a background to go in your journal. You could stamp it direct into your journal. And I hate to say it, but men, you know, sorry, sometimes you are difficult to make cards for. Sometimes it could be, say, teenagers that maybe, you know, you're not sure what to make. And sometimes you just want a background that you can then put a sentiment on. And I've got to be honest, for me, I think that is a lovely, lovely background. Now, here's the one I made earlier. And again, it's just different checkers, different shapes. But look, you could have it that way. And as I say, by changing the stamp up. So we'll use this one that I've used today. And for me, I think you could just put a sentiment on that if you wish. But what I have done is I've taken one of our watercolour tags and I've actually stamped the beautiful stamp on here and just added some ink around. And what I'm thinking is that will make a lovely topper on here. So just so you can see how we would finish it off. But I've had so much fun with this stamping film, and you know, I've only just started what you can do with it. There are so many more things that you can do. So let's get some of our Lavinia glue. I've got to see, look at that. This one is empty, but I don't want to throw it out. I need to because it is empty. So do you know what? That's something that's on my list for this afternoon. I must do that. So I'm thinking, if I pop that here, and then I'm going to add with the lovely sparkle Posca, the lovely green. I've got some sparkle on here, some little splats. So I'm just going to add a few on here. And again, I'm pointing it where I want it, look. Just a few, don't want to overdo it. And let's just give that a wipe. And then I think to just finish that off, a couple of lovely sentiments. And I'm thinking, best friends there. And then, I mean, look at this, we've got so many. We'll go be kind. I like be kind. And we're just going to put that one. Oh no, I don't like that now. I'll put that there. You see, for me, that's why I use Beauty. I think that's why I like to use my scissors. Yes, I think that the Be Kind was just a bit heavy. I think the Beauty works better there. So we'll just get that nice and straight and take it across the two. And then just come in with my fine liner and just do a nice little bit of, just to tie it all together. And I like it across the tag. And across the background, look. So it just shows you from that lovely background. Now you could stamp directly on this. I mean, we've got so many lovely silhouette stamps. Or you could add yourself a little tag. Now, just a couple of things before I go. So remember to clean this, again, spritz it with water, inky binky. And if you don't want to keep it, so this one here where I've got the large ridge, just bring in your heat tool again. Again, make sure you keep it moving. And it will eventually go flat. Now, I must admit, I don't know how many times you can do this. I know I've been using mine a lot. I've also been planning workshops, using it in workshops. So, you know, you can use them a lot of times. But as for a specific number, I'm afraid I can't answer that question. But look at that. And that will become lovely and flat, ready to use. Now a little thing just before we go, you've got the sides on here and you can use these as well. So what I'm thinking is I've got this lovely stamp here to show you, and this is the Twisted Willow. And let's just grab a piece. So you know those strips, you know when we're tidying up, we save strips. Let's just show you this strip here. So we've got the Twisted Willow. Let's heat this up. Now again, what I'm thinking is, you know, I like using almost ribbon banners. Sometimes they call them belly bands, don't they? But if you need a little bit of pattern, I'm thinking this would be lovely. And you could almost make your own borders. So again, we'll heat this up. Get it ready in my hand. And again, I'm sort of just giving it a bit of a wiggle. Right, now look at that. So anything, when you think of your pattern stamps, and again, because you've got these areas, you can take part of a stamp. I mean, aren't you excited? You know, possibilities. So let's just take this to show you. We'll use Russet Orange for this one. And I'm just gently, and I want to catch all the sides. Now, a few people have asked as well, if you wanted to blend this, let me grab, you could use a blending tool if you want to blend your ink. So let's just have a look. If we take that straight away, and again, look at that pattern. Now I've got more on here. So you can use your spritz and take another one. We'll go another one. And again, I was just practicing having a look at the difference between where I've added water and without the water. But as I say, if you want to just add, I think that would look lovely across a card, just if you need a panel or if you need a border. Could stamp your own borders. Now, last thing before we go, I'm dying to have a go. So because I fancied doing it, let's do it. Let's take this, and the last thing we'll do, we'll have a little go and we'll stamp on top of this. Try and find a clean piece of copy of paper. There we go. And let's just see what this will look like. I wasn't planning on doing this, but that's what happens when you come in my craft room. And this is what happens when you start crafting, isn't it? And you go from one thing to another. Well, I do. So I like that background, but I'm thinking, now, do I line it up? Do I offset it? What do you think? Again, it's all about choices. Now, remember, you've got the reverse on there as well, haven't you? So, I think it'll look quite cool stamped in the black on top. Like I said, it'll be interesting because you have got the reverse. So let's see. Oh, now you see, I like that as well. So it just opens up so many possibilities. Right, I'm afraid I can't stay with you all day as much as I would love to. But I'm hoping that's just given you an insight into, yes, we can use our stamps, our fabulous Lavinia stamps, look, with the stamping foam. And look at the results you can get. And I'll bring in just one of the little borders just to remind you to use every bit of that stamping foam. It's got, I was going to say 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I can't even count. What am I like? It's a good job you lot are here to help me. So I'm hoping you enjoyed that. And I'm hoping it just inspires you. So if you haven't got the stamping foam, get it. If you've bought some and put it in the cupboard, like we do, time to get it out and have a play. Use your stamps with it. Use your stencils with it. Combining stamps and stencils. Use it in your journal. Use it on cards. But please share your work in our fabulous Lavinia for You group and tag me in, please, because I'd love to see what you're doing. And we just inspire each other so much. Right, I'm off for that cheeky brew and maybe a biscuit, but only one, because obviously I'm still full from mince pies from Christmas. So you take care. Have a lovely weekend when it arrives. I'm demonstrating all weekend, so I've got a busy, busy weekend, but it'll be lovely to spend time with you fabulous crafters. So you take care. See you again next week. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.